Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here with another Wednesday episode sponsored by Gray Fox Games. It only took me a year to remember regularly to say that at the start of an episode.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the timeline for me remembering to do anything I'm supposed to do.
Gotcha.
A year.
I have to do it for a
1
year.
year.
Yeah. I'm a very reliable person. So...
Did you hear that the directors of Endgame are now like, you can talk about spoilers now.
Yes.
So we can talk about or any of those other things.
Oof. I don't know if we want to go that hard in the paint.
Have you seen it a second time yet?
No.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Gotcha.
So the day you're listening to this, dear listener, I'll be watching Avengers for the second time. I'm excited for it. It'll be nice. Nice. Yeah, I'm going at 2:30, which means that I'll be done at about 6, which means I'm going to go directly from watching it to game night at Strange.
Woo.
Yeah, Megan's brother hadn't seen it yet, so I got all three of us tickets. Which if either of you are free at 2:30 on a Wednesday, feel free to come.
Sure ain't.
Join us. Bail on work, Jeff. I'm sure they won't miss you.
I mean, they probably wouldn't because there's no one that I work with anymore. So I just do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
No one knows I'm not there.
Yeah. They'll only know you aren't there is if orders aren't fulfilled.
Yeah.
So,
or someone shows up.
yeah.
Are you still mostly at the depressory?
Yes.
All by your lonesome.
Yep. I actually had like a meeting today. I had to
By yourself?
the truck team and then like the boss guy and then me.
Okay.
So basically.
Have they looked into hiring anybody else?
I think they want to hire like one more person right
Really?
now. Yeah.
Why have so few people?
I don't know. Because they're efficient.
I mean, is it really efficient to have a guy with a bum leg
I just
doing
need-
all their building?
I need one more person there, which I had today.
Okay.
But that would be beneficial.
Gotcha.
One more person.
Gotcha. Speaking of your bum leg, you had physical therapy today.
Yeah, I didn't mention last week, but I had a CT scan on my leg because they're not sure it's healing right. And so now I do physical therapy, and we'll find out in 5 weeks when I go back to the doctor after 5 weeks of physical therapy if things are going the right direction.
Because you found that something was growing, but something else wasn't growing.
So
right?
my fibula is about as broken as it was when I broke it, and we're 14 weeks from breaking it, and it's not healing. The tibia is healing, but not as fast as they would like.
Gotcha. But is it okay that the fibia is not
Yeah, because
healing?
it's not really used for walking. It's
Okay.
not weight bearing at all. It's used as like an anchor point on like your outside your ankle there, and then some tendons kind of are in there, and then it's also used for shock absorption on jumps and things like that.
All
but
of those sound important.
Yeah.
they're not as important as walking.
I mean, you're not wrong. But so they're like, don't jump around.
I'm not going to be doing that
Well,
anyways.
I know.
Currently,
But are they? Is it like?
I mean, if like right now the fibula is not, we don't need to focus on that.
Okay.
We need to focus on the tibia
okay.
and getting that to heal.
Okay.
Drink more milk, Jeff.
Yes, all my vitamin C's.
Calciums.
Yes,
Yeah. Just ingest raw calcium, just right into your mouth.
just start eating other people's
yeah.
bones.
Yeah. I mean,
that will heal you.
Yeah.
If Kingdom Death taught me anything.
I mean, Chester eats bones all the time, and
How's her leg?
her leg's crooked as fuck. So,
Yeah.
to be fair, it at least has healed.
Yeah.
It just healed
No,
wrong.
well, no, it is not healed.
No,
No.
his
Jester's.
Oh, Jester's. Okay.
Jester's crooked foot.
Gotcha.
And she runs and jumps just fine.
Yeah.
How's your back, Zach?
I mean, it's scratched, but that's about it.
I've discovered that I have the same physical therapist as Big Josh, Warehouse Josh.
Yeah.
Because I had talked that I worked at Epic Brewing, and she's like, "Oh, do you know Josh?" And I was like, "I know multiples." And then it was Warehouse Josh.
Yeah.
Was going to physical therapy there for his elbow.
Do you get tennis elbow?
I don't know. He was working at the baseball stadium, and he works out a lot. So,
Baseball elbow.
Yeah.
Got it.
baseball elbow.
Cool.
Yeah. So I get to go back Friday,
How often do you have to go?
twice a week. 12 weeks.
Mondays and Fridays?
No, just whatever's available, really.
Okay.
But I mean,
Where's it at?
St. Luke's. So it's like just a couple blocks from where I live.
Okay, that's good.
And since my insurance maxed out, it is all free.
Nice.
No copay, no nothing.
So is the physical therapy, you just come in and you put your leg up there and they just sort of poke it at random spots.
There was
and does this hurt? Does this hurt?
She did a massage
Okay.
on it, and I think that was while she was trying to investigate exactly what was going on in the calf area.
Uh-huh.
And then I did a bike, and then I did like this like leg lift thing and some other stuff. I have a whole app that tells me what I have to do twice a day. 2 sets, 10 reps each.
Okay.
Yeah. Physical therapy.
Hooray.
Hooray.
You shouldn't have had too much like atrophy or things though.
Oh, yes, I have significant
Oh, yeah?
atrophy in my left leg.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't feel like you were not using it.
Well,
I
he
wasn't
wasn't
using it for 7 weeks while I was on crutches.
I guess that's fair.
I was non-weight bearing.
I guess that's fair.
And then even when it was weight bearing, like the parts when you had the boots on, like there are things you just didn't move.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
sure
and I could tell almost within the first 2 weeks after I got the surgery, after the swelling went down, I was like, my left leg's already much smaller. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right on. On to more exciting news.
Woo.
What have you guys been up to? Anything more exciting?
I've been up to physical therapy.
Yeah. Zach, what about you?
I've basically just been working because I got to save up for Geekway.
Wow, we're real exciting this week
No,
then.
I had a friend come visit at least.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was good. We went to Angelo's. Have you ever been there?
I have not.
It's at like an Italian place.
Okay.
It was good.
I went to the Denver Diner for the first time today. It's over by like Colfax and
in Spear.
Spear.
Yeah.
It was very good.
Also
I had
have not been there.
I had a Reuben burger.
Nice. I haven't been there since they remodeled.
No, I've never been there
Yeah.
before they were remodeled, I guess.
Yeah.
It's nice.
To give you context, the last time I went there was when Whitney still lived here before she moved back.
Before I knew she existed.
Exactly.
Long before I knew
Yes.
she existed.
Yes.
So
Those fun days.
yeah, fun days.
We also did, Zach, you and I, we went to the 3rd annual Black Tie Grilled Cheese event.
Oh yes, that's
And you got so drunk you had to go sit in another room for a bit.
well. Okay, so
What?
context of the grilled cheese
Yes.
festival or grilled cheese party is that there's a grilled cheese festival in Denver that we first saw 3 years ago.
Yes. I think it was its first year
Yes.
as well.
And we were like, oh, that sounds great. And then we saw that like tickets were $45 to $60.
And
we're
you
like,
got 2 beers and 2 grilled cheeses.
or whatever bullshit it was. Even if it was unlimited or something, it's still like, that's a lot of fucking money for a grilled
Yeah.
cheese. And so we got the idea of like, fuck it, we'll just do our own. And then to make it fancy, we did a black tie grilled cheese.
To keep a certain level of Denver hipster pretension,
Yeah.
we turned it
Mhm.
into a black tie event, which varying amounts of actual black tie
Yes.
following
Yeah.
exist. Some people show up in like full-on tuxes.
yeah.
Sometimes, like this year, I get off of a 12-hour shift and I just put my clip-on bow tie on
Yeah.
with like a general button-down shirt
Yeah.
that doesn't match at all.
And I didn't go black tie, but I did go basically what I wear for interviews.
Okay.
And then immediately, like 20 minutes after I got there, jacket came off. 30 minutes after that, the tie is now loosened and the my shirt is now rolled up to let my arms breathe and shit like that.
You get sweaty after eating so many grilled cheeses.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people there.
There's also, a lot of people. The house
Also-
gets quite
yeah.
warm.
And there are people that look like they could stand in a suit all day and be fine.
Mhm.
As soon as I start wearing a suit, I'm like, this is the worst thing. I hate this so much.
So I'm usually the opposite. I actually usually feel pretty comfortable in a suit.
No.
I wish I had more of an excuse to wear suits.
Well, to be fair, the 2 jackets I have, I first wore them, or I think I got fitted for them 6.5 years ago, almost 7. But one of them, the arm basically comes up to like halfway up my forearm if my arm is crooked at all.
Okay.
And the other one, my arms can only go up about halfway before it's like, no, you're not moving any farther. And like my shoulder pads are like 90s like businesswoman shoulder pads.
I feel like you need new suits.
You're not wrong, but I'm not paying the however much it was for that. So
Fair enough.
because I haven't needed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of grilled cheese. He also has a smoker, so he made burnt ends, brisket, and pulled pork.
Which is the reason that for the first time in the history of the grilled cheese event, I didn't eat a single grilled cheese. I stuffed myself on brisket and burnt ends and sausage cheese dip.
Yeah, which were very good.
Yeah,
Uh,
that sausage cheese dip is
yeah.
fucking amazing.
So he also has, I want to say it's called Imperial Punch. I don't know what it is.
No, so they because they were
They
calling
call
it
it Death
Nick's,
Punch.
Nick's Death Punch, but then somebody had come up with a different, better name that I heard at the party, but then I have since forgotten.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a giant thing that contains, at the very least, 2.4 gallons of wine, a gallon of rum, amongst other things, and then is topped with champagne.
Wow.
And then it has like fruit juice and stuff in it to make it.
People seem to love it.
Yeah.
I do not drink it.
That's fine. I drank I drank it and it didn't taste that strong to me, but I knew it was strong. Other people though were like, "This tastes so fucking strong," and I'm like, "Oh, I guess it's just one of those things." But after 2.5 full solo cups of the punch, I was sitting in the living room when I finished the second and or the final part of it, and I was like, "I'm good here." There are people coming in and out. I can interact with them. I don't have to move. That's good. This is my area. And then I stayed there for about an hour and a half. And then eventually I got up. And then I was like, oh, I need to sober up some. Let me get a beer. Just to cut it. Because it was like.
To cut the wine.
Yeah.
We turned, I came in there a little bit later because I wasn't there for very long because I worked a 12-hour shift and then I had to be at work at 6 a.m. the next morning. But for a little bit, I went in there and was talking to Zach, and we ended up talking about like Avengers memes and Game of Thrones memes. And so it started to be like anytime somebody came into the room from either end, we'd be like, whoa, have you seen one or the other, depending on what we were talking about at the time? No? Well, it's nice seeing you. Get the fuck out. We're not gonna stop talking about it. So if you stay, you're getting your fucking you're getting spoiled.
Yeah, and so this is the Friday or the Saturday after the episode 3, and so a lot of people were discussing that, and it was throughout the night, various way. I want to say there was a conversation going the entire night about it. It just popped up in different spots.
It was like, of the 4 people discussing it, 3 would leave, but 3 more would come, and it just kind of carry over. So there's like just one continual thread of it through the party.
Yes.
Yeah, I talked about it like out on the back porch, in the dining room, in the kitchen,
downstairs. No, it was
but it was a good time. They've got the most adorable puppy ever.
Yes.
Gaia. She's a little German Shepherd pup, and she's adorable.
She's adorable. Our friends, our friend Richard, he has a corgi puppy now that is just like fucking.
Yeah. I'll give it credit. It's super adorable right now while it's a puppy. I don't like corgis.
Okay.
As a full-grown adult dogs, corgis are a dog where I'm like, why?
My favorite thing about the corgi puppy is that it's so small. Anytime, like, its head is always 90 degrees up to look at anything. And then it's running like at full speed, and you can a walking pace will easily keep up with the thing. And then it's like jumping over shit, but it's like 2 inches off the ground. Like when you did that snow jump on the snowboarding thing where you ate it and you're like, I jumped so high, and then it was so small, like barely got off the ground.
I'm glaring at you for all the people listening. I'm hoping they can hear the glare.
No.
But just in case they can't, I'm glaring at you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That did happen once though.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good party. I wasn't there for very long, unfortunately, but while I was there, I had fun. It was good getting to see people. It's funny, I can tell like I'm getting older when I go to parties like that, and everybody else is getting older along with me, obviously, who like tend to be in our friend groups. But like we had a long conversation about landscaping, like me and Shadrin and a couple other people, and it's just like, I don't talk about fun things anymore. I talk about landscaping.
That's what happens when you own a house.
Yep. So yeah.
Other than that, do you want to talk about landscaping?
That's been it.
The mowers came by like Friday. That's the only landscaping news I have.
I need to mow. It's getting jungly in my front yard. Problem is, I know there's a lot of rocks in that front yard. I'm going to break a windshield or a front window.
All the windows.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's move on to some board game stuff since we don't have a whole lot of exciting stuff in our lives this week. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Jeff, in between CT scans and physical therapy, did you get to play any games?
At game night, we played some of the review game, The Expanse.
Indeed.
And then we played Uwe Rosenberg's new Flip and Fill.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the term.
Second Chance with the polyominoes.
That he sure loves to have.
Yes. You flip over 2 cards.
Well, you have a 9x9 grid.
Yeah, you have a 9x9 grid, and everyone gets a unique starter.
That is a bunch of weird shapes.
Yeah, and then you just kind of go from there. So no one ever really starts the same.
Yeah.
And then, because it's like a pool of 7 or 10 or something
10
like
cards, I think.
and it has to be in the center, and then you flip 2 cards from the middle, and then everyone chooses one of them or the other.
And these squares can be anywhere from a single square
Yes.
to like having 10 squares worth of things.
Like the ultimate Z piece of Nightmares.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's multiples of each, and then there's another card that shows you how much of whatever's in the deck. So some will only pop up once, some can pop up 3 times, and you just have to try and last as long as you can.
Ideally, you want to fill up your entire board, but if not, you want to have the least amount of squares empty squares visible on your board.
I liked it.
Yeah, well, and the main gimmick of it, hence the name Second Chance, is that if you flip over your two cards and you can't use either one of those, then you get a second chance, which is you flip. Although, like I was telling Paul, it really should be a third chance because you have 2 chances.
You already had 2.
But you flip over another card that's just for you, and if you were able to use that card on your board, then you're still in the game. If not, then you're out.
Yep. I crushed it. We played 2 games, and I won both of them.
We tied.
But I lasted longer.
You lasted
because
longer.
they don't really say, like, tiebreaker-wise.
So I'm just saying, per the rules, we tied, Jeff.
Yeah. But I lasted. I was able to fill more pieces later, I guess. I don't know. And then the second game, I annihilated everyone.
That's true.
I had one space not filled in.
There were many times when both Paul and I were like, all right, let's hope if this works out. And then another card comes out and we're like, oh God, no, I have made a wrong choice.
Yeah, a lot of bad choices that you have to contend with. Paul and I both had the same shape that we were hoping would come up and totally did.
Yes.
It was like a U shape.
And it was I was hoping for that one too, but it was the one after I got eliminated from the rounds. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. So we both got that. And then I just kept going. I think I had one single space not filled in at the very end.
Yeah. No, it definitely gave me a vibe of a simpler Welcome to.
Yeah.
So of like just as the game's going on, you're getting more and more things of like
trying to instead of filling in numbers, you're filling in shapes.
Yeah, and it's just like I need like something that is long and skinny, or something like you said, Z-shaped, or like I can't have any boxes or any shit like that.
Yeah. The next, one of the most crucial skills you can have in this game is deciding what format you're going to actually shade your different pieces in.
Yes.
Because you can't do the same, because you want to know what different pieces were filled in wherever. At one point, I think I just started putting numbers in the middle of them.
I started doing that too.
And then I started at XYZ and then flipped around to ABC and just started putting letters in the middles because it was just various cross-hatch things.
Yep.
And Wes, with his architect drawing powers, was doing very well at shading all of his pieces in.
But not good at the actual game.
No. His mess looked nice.
Yeah. I think Paul did the worst the first one, and I did the worst on the second one. Like 14 spaces or something like that. Yeah.
I think that's all I played this week. Yeah.
Okay.
I was busy at work until like forever on Friday.
Yeah.
Didn't get really much in on Saturday. Played Drink the Beer Sunday.
It's a favorite of yours.
Yeah.
Cool. For myself, I also haven't played a whole lot this week besides the review game. My work schedule is really making it hard for me to find time to play games.
Weird. Work when you work on the weekends.
Yeah.
And especially you have 12-hour days on the weekends.
When I first got the job, I was like, oh, it won't be a big deal. I get off work at 6:30. I can play a game in the evening before bed. Because I was thinking back to my days when I worked 10-hour shifts. I was like, 10-hour shifts aren't that bad. That extra 2 hours
makes a big difference.
Really fucking takes it out of you. Holy shit.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been kind of brutal. But I did go to game night and I did get a chance to play Gentes, or Gentes or Gentes or whatever the hell you want to call it. I believe Gentes is what Mike Jones was saying was the proper pronunciation, but I don't remember for sure.
Was this the Deluxeified edition?
It was the Deluxeified edition because Paul had a job when this was on Kickstarter, so he was able to back it. I was not.
I believe he's just continued to have a job this entire time.
Yeah, yes, this is true. But yeah, so it's the Deluxeified, and holy shit, is it nice. It might have one of my new favorite metal coins ever, and a lot of the other wooden tokens and bits are real nice. He 3D printed himself an insert that works really well, and yeah, just all around top notch on the components there, as is usually the case with TMG's Deluxeified stuff.
Yeah. It's a civilization game, though, right?
Yes. So it's a building civilizations in the Mediterranean.
Great.
So you're not farming, at least.
Or
you're
shipping.
not trading, but you are building cities in the Mediterranean. The cool thing about it, though, is that it has a really kind of interesting time mechanic where when you want to take an action, you choose the action, you pay then a certain amount of costs to go along with the action. So sometimes it'll be usually money. It's an amount of money. And then also a time component. So you might spend more money to have less time, or you could maybe spend no money on certain actions, but then they're 2 or 3 time. And you've got a little track across the top of your board. And so the tile that for the action you chose goes in there. And then a number of time tokens equal to whatever the time cost of that action is. So like building a temple, you might take 3 time tokens. And so those will take up the next 3 spots in your track. And whenever your track's completely full, you're done with actions for that round. And you can optionally, when you take time, put 2 of them into the same space. So it takes up less space on your track. But then at the end of the round, when you're clearing your track, if there's a space with 2 time in it, you take away only 1 of them. So either way, you're losing an action the same amount for a 2 time cost. You're losing 2 actions spots. It's just whether you lose them in the same round or in consecutive rounds.
Gotcha.
You start the game with a number of them locked at the end, and certain ones unlock every couple eras, and then you could unlock other ones through gameplay things. That seemed to be a pretty key part of the game. The people who unlocked more time on their track tended to do better. It was really overall a pretty close game. Paul narrowly beat me. I came in second, and then I think it was Mike Jones, and then Allison came in last. But I actually really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. It was definitely one of those games where at the start of the game, like Paul explained everything, and I understood all of the rules and all of the mechanics. And then I won on Schwazi to go first, and it was like, I have no fucking clue what to do. I have 0 idea where to start this game. Like, what of the multiple actions that I have available to me, what is the best one? I do not know. But a few turns into it, I was able to kind of figure it out and put together a strategy. It was kind of interesting to see people go for vastly different strategies and how they all kind of played. Paul and I had pretty different strategies and ended up pretty close in score. So that was a good thing to see, that there's multiple paths to victory, I believe is the phrase people like to use in board game reviews.
Yes.
So I dug it. I want to play it some more and would like to hopefully maybe review it. I know TMG had emailed us about it. I'm tempted to say
TMG review copies sort of just show up.
Yeah.
In an email of shipping, you would be like, hey, yes, I would like to review that. And then we have no idea if we're going to get the game.
Did we say yes?
We did say yes.
Okay, cool.
But then we won't know until I get a shipping notification.
Yeah. So, hopefully it'll be one that'll show up and we'll actually get to review it.
Or we can just use Paul's copy.
Copy. But I want a copy, so I want a review copy.
What a greedy bastard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why I do the show.
Yeah.
I started this whole thing like, man, I just can't wait to get a bunch of free games.
Yeah, I'm just going to put all this money in for a podcast because then I'm going to get games.
I'm going to pour thousands of dollars into this podcast in the form of mics and equipment. And I'm going to get hundreds of dollars of free board games.
Yeah, of free regular versions of board games.
Yes. So, Gentes, that's what I played. I really liked it. So, what about you, Zach? What did you play this week?
Basically what Jeff said, with the exception of 2 things.
We're not allowed to play the same games together anymore.
I know, right?
That's why I did play a couple without you.
We did play Cribbage.
We played
Cribbage. Waiting for Jeff to come.
That's strange, yeah.
And it was a really close game until Jeff showed up. And he showed up and he was like, all right, I got to go change out of my work clothes. And I'll be right back. And when he was there, it was like 24 to 22.
I think it was closer to like 40, like 35 to 30, somewhere around there.
It was still before the first curve.
Yeah.
And then
after
I got stomped.
After like 3 or 4 hands, Jeff comes out and we're like, Jeff, did you see the score previously? And he's like, no. And then he looks down and I have like 110 points and Adrian has 65.
Real close to the end.
Yeah.
Did you end up skunking me, or did I narrowly snuck you? Okay, I didn't get double skunked.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, because it doesn't have a real clear skunk line. You just have to know where it is on that board.
No, it's real clear on that one. It just says S, but for double skunk is 60, and it doesn't really say much for that, but it's just, yeah. And then I also played Cribbage with Paul, Allison, and Wes, because every couple game nights we'll play together, and it's like me and Allison versus Paul and Wes, and we were basically 2-2, so, each one winning twice, I guess.
Mhm.
But this one we were able to pull the victory from, which was great. But that was good. And then I played Hanabi Deluxe again because we were waiting for you to get there.
Yes.
And we're like, oh, we got enough time. No, it was that, and then they're also like they were gonna play Gentes at 6.
I think I was there at 6.
Yeah, but no, we were there at like 5:30.
So
and
you
so we
broke
played
out
that.
the Hanabi. Did Paul have another aneurysm?
No, he didn't get there late enough.
Okay.
Or he didn't get there early enough.
Okay.
But it was we ended up getting 24 out of 25 points, and It was one of the things where it was just a bad draw. We didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It just at the end of it, I had 2 things that needed to be played, and Lance had 2 things that needed to be played. Like he had 2 5s, and I had a 5 and a 4 that matched up with his 5. And so there's no way we could both play. Like we were going to be one short no matter what we did. So, but it was still good, and I still like playing with those, even though it's
tiles.
Yeah, I like playing with the tiles. And sort of just experimenting with types of clues given and seeing if they can realize what I'm trying to tell them. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's about it.
Cool. That wraps up what we've been playing. Jeff, is there a bloody minute?
There is no the Beeman.
I'd like that somehow less.
Yeah.
Bullshit Paul is my next opponent. We will smoosh our lizard teams up against each other and
kiss.
Yeah. Pretty much. He's got way more skills than I do. My last couple games against Paul have been dice nightmares for me, so hopefully that trend will not continue. Came off a nice win against Andrew in my last game, which I was not going into with high hopes. So we'll see what the next game is. I really wish people would start smashing apart people's teams before they play me, because I always seem to run into me smashing other people's teams, so the people after me get a much easier play. But in other Blood Bowl news, Thursby, our Kingdom Death introductory guy, he bought the whole set, and then Paul bought the whole set. So
yeah.
Okay.
But Thursby has all the minis. He's playing halflings. I think he's in the bottom tier. Yeah, he's not in the vaults. And I think he's going to the playoffs with halflings.
Nice.
In his last game against dwarves, he won 1-0, and he surfed 5 dwarves.
That's crazy.
And he still took a lot of hits, and Ant still has to play the guy Thursby is about to go against. But if nothing dramatic happens in that game, Thursby could have 890K in inducements against this human team.
Jesus.
A team starting out starts at 1 million. So he has almost his entire team value in inducements for his next game, which means he could get Morgan Thorg, Deep Root, and a Chef off of inducements. Morg is a move 6, strength 6, edge 3, armor 10, block, fucking the best star player in the game. And then Deep Root is like move 4, strength 8,000, armor 10. He's a star tree, and trees are like generally the strongest players,
okay.
I think. But they always have to roll. But their like big guy thing is take root on a 1. They don't just become boneheaded and don't do anything that turn. They literally root in place and can't move anymore until something knocks them over.
Okay.
Which is a very bad. That's the worst. Like
doesn't seem ideal.
Bad trait in the game. But yeah, Thursby's probably making the playoffs with the halflings.
No shit.
I might be making playoffs in my league. I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but I haven't really cared about playoffs because I'm probably just going to get smashed again like last season.
Yeah.
It's out in the first round.
And then you just have one more season of these lizards before.
Yeah, I could make a new team, but then I'd just be making a new team again.
So what are you thinking of going next in 2 seasons?
I own dwarves, and I like dwarves. I like the high armor teams. They don't have high strength like orcs do.
Yeah.
But probably dwarves, maybe chaos. Yeah, I generally like the high armor, high strength teams. So chaos is a little more of that. Dwarves are a little more.
If you're a chaos, your team name should just be I'm a Ladder.
Great. Got it. Yeah, cool. Very exciting.
Who's your current favorite, in your opinion, to take home the trophy?
I have no idea who's in the vaults, and I have not been paying attention to the top tier league. So I have no idea.
That was a disappointing answer.
Probably Paul.
God, I hope not. Can't imagine.
I mean, it's been like Phil or Ant for every season. I don't think we've had a new champion ever.
Besides the first 2 that they
Yeah, they've just been.
I guess technically you've only had one new champion.
Yes,
and that was whoever
when Phil beat Paul. I
yes,
think.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the day, but it's been between like Ant, me, Paul, Phil.
I'm rooting for you, Jeff.
Yeah,
I hope somehow you turn it around.
Yeah, I've been getting to the end until last season where I got cut pretty early.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you have some people who are just better at this than other people, and so they just keep sort of showing up.
Yeah. I mean, even in some things, like I got really lucky against Frank in that last playoff that I got to the end, where I'm surprised I made it. It was a real low probability for me to win, a real low probability play for me to take the win. So I've gotten lucky. So we'll see. Champion playoffs are coming. We got like 1 or 2 rounds left. Two rounds.
Neat.
Yep.
Cool. That wraps up all of the banter portion of the episode.
And the B-men.
God damn it. Ugh, I feel dirty.
Yeah.
But let's move on to some news and some Kickstarters. Let's talk about news and Kickstarters in the news and Kickstarter segment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
First up in news this week, the Pathfinder adventure card game, which you people have played.
Yes. 2 whole campaigns of it.
Yeah, and I still own it. Still own those 2.
But there's a new one coming out. That's a new core set, a new edition.
It looks like they're just basically trying to refresh it and sort of update it.
Yeah, because it was 2013.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So says this article, 2013.
Yeah.
So they're going to make a new one coming out this month.
I still have fond memories of that as someone who doesn't really care as much for the role-playing aspect of the RPGs.
Yeah.
That it was still, it was just team puzzle solving, which now we've got for like time stories and some of those other ones. So I wonder if, and I never expected like any real world building in that thing or something like that. And it was always, it only came through weird shit that we were coming up with.
Yeah.
Which is fine with, that's my style of it versus like a deep lore thing like that.
Yeah, I mean, it took place in the Pathfinder like universe.
Yes,
and like so Bob knew a lot of the lore because Bob's played Pathfinder before, and he was in our group that played with. Yeah, it was like you, me, Bob, and David, I think, right?
For first one, and then Matt came in with us.
Yeah,
for the second one.
And so Bob would regularly be like, "Oh yeah, this is related to like this thing that happens in the lore," and so there were ties to that, but it never really, I felt, came through really strong.
I would say weekly at best.
Yeah.
That's with an A, not like time,
Yes. There was a decent amount of character customization, like just kind of the way you could build your deck.
Yeah.
It bothered me a little bit when we played it at how random it was.
But it's cards and dice.
Exactly. Just the character building side of it could be really random because, like, if you didn't really get cards that upgraded your specific character, you'd fight a big boss and they drop a bunch of loot, but it might all go to other players, and you're like, well, I mean, I don't feel like I really gained anything. But which was kind of frustrating.
True, but I also felt that it was the entire, like, everything was that. So it's like, if it didn't work for you this time, it'll
hopefully,
be
usually
it was like you would get your thing. No, especially if some people got really strong things, we'd be like, oh, well, you got this really awesome thing. Let's try. Or it's because everybody sort of had different stats. So it was like, oh, this thing is good for you. This is dex. This is strength. This is magic versus. Or intellect versus wisdom, and so
I did feel like there was some of the things I really like about playing like a D&D, like the general feel of a party, like I'm kind of this person who can do some fighting pretty good, and I'm also kind of a healer, or like I'm really good at range stuff, so I can be in one location that we know is kind of safe and help somebody else fight at a location that's not safe. So some of that still came through, and I felt like there was definitely different uses for the different roles. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That they were able to do that in just a card game.
So I'm curious. Go ahead.
I had never played any of this. I remember you guys were playing this like early on when we started about 3 years ago.
I think we had wrapped up even our second one before we started the podcast.
Yes.
But they were all individually like, we need to buy this set to play with this.
So what it was is you had a base set, which came with one adventure or two adventures.
Something like that.
And then you had character packs that could give you additional characters and play with more people. And then like adventure packs that gave you an adventure, and each adventure had like 4 scenarios in it, and so,
usually included like special like sub bosses, like mini bosses and bosses.
Yeah,
and maybe some new monsters and items.
And it was it was a progression, and by the time you were done, like you were fighting the final boss, you had create like you were level whatever, and I mean, and everybody leveled differently, but it was like you're increasing because your deck was basically your health.
Yeah.
And whenever you ran out of that, you were knocked out.
Okay.
And so you could increase that. You could hold more weapons, more items that like have allies, that sort of thing. And then you had little abilities that are like, oh, now when I attack, I roll this D6 +1, or now it's a D8 plus whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So was it something that you could just be like time stories? I buy this new adventure, put it with this core set, and now I can play this new adventure?
Yes.
Yes, okay. But it was all one giant story. So you could view it in the sense of
so one of them was like pirate themed.
Pirate one was a different, like you had to get a new core set for each different.
Okay. That was a specific core set with its own specific modules.
This new system seems to be like core set, and it will have that time stories-esque thing where you don't need a new core set to play something beyond the pirate set now.
Yes, which is good because that was very like I definitely was like I don't want to have to buy it. Like I think probably each time it was close to $200, if not that.
Cripes.
Maybe less. It might have been like 150 or 120.
Still a bunch.
It's still a bunch
over a period of time.
And I was the only one buying it, so just like I'm the only one buying time stories. And the legacy games.
Homer Simpson like sliding back into the shrub gif now.
Yes. But on the other side,
Seafall.
Yeah.
Yep.
At least the games you buy are good and they get played.
You're not wrong.
And I bought Mars, the Mars bullshit game that
Jeff
also.
bought that too.
Yeah, I know.
Really, just seems like the campaign-based games that I don't buy are the ones that get
Which is why you're going to buy all the campaign-based games now.
That way we guarantee it's going to be good.
Yeah, I still enjoy, like, honestly, the reason I've kept them is that, like, you know, I still could see myself playing them again, at least trying it, and then being like, oh, this is not aged well, or anything like that. But I still enjoyed it for what it was. Really, it was just a cooperative experience.
Yeah, so. I really enjoyed it when we played it.
And then you got into D&D, and you're like, oh, this is what I want.
I'm really pretty sure I would not enjoy it nearly.
No, because,
my gaming taste drastically changed.
Yes, and, like, the people who, Matt and Ant and some of the other people that were very into D&D and role-playing were like, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
So
as
coming with someone who doesn't really like role-playing, I did.
Yeah. The other nice thing about this one, before we move on, because we've been talking about it for a while, the new core sets are supposed to work with all of the previously released sets as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's going to be very...
I want to say there were 2 other ones. There was a mummy. There was like a Egyptian themed one, and then sort of like Wrath of the Righteous, or like some sort of like God and devil based one.
Okay.
So
yeah,
which I had always been like, man, I should get that, but I was like, nobody's gonna play that anymore. So, and also I have way too many goddamn campaign things to play right now. So
right,
yeah. And at least Jeff bought Gloomhaven, which is good.
Yeah.
And Paul and Dan have
Kingdom
of Death, which is good. So. Yeah. Feel like there's just like one denominator that would just buy the bad ones. Adrian's glaring at me again if you can't hear it.
Been a lot of that going on this episode. But let's move on from Pathfinder card game stuff into the next bit of news.
Do you remember Eternal, that app that launched like 3 years ago? That's like Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone. Well, now they're bringing it to a physical world instead of just an app based with from Denver's own Direwolf, bringing out a physical version.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so...
Also known as Clank Studio, Direwolf.
That's, yeah.
Yes. But it's going to be a standalone deck-building game that plays 4 players and designed by Paul Denon, who was the lead designer for Clank. And you're going to be basically summoning characters onto the field to battle on your behalf, kind of like in Magic. Trying to knock your opponent's health down to 0. Allies stay in play. Their cards get discarded. And
so,
yeah.
The big thing is the digital game was a CCG like Hearthstone.
Yes.
But the physical version will be a deck builder, not a CCG.
Correct.
Which I am excited about because I don't like more than one CCG at a time.
Yes. Yeah. So it's supposed to take 30 minutes to 45 minutes to play a match. And yeah, coming out this August for $25. So pretty solidly reasonable price as well.
Yeah.
It seems like the game, it says half an hour to 45 minutes per game. So it might be a little on the long side for like a deck builder that I'm used to, I guess.
I mean, if it's like a 4-player deck builder, though, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. Is it a 4-player deck builder?
Yes.
Okay. Because some of those 4-player Star Realms games can get long as fuck.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know of many 4-player deck builders that play in under an hour.
Yeah.
So
I can't think of any.
Yeah. But yeah, so keep an eye out for Eternal Chronicles of the Throne. Like I said, coming out this August, $25.
Next up on news, we have a reprint of a long-wanted game, Die Macher?
Yes. Die Macher. Which is...
I was looking at the prices, and it was like $75 to $200.
Yeah, it's an older game. It's been out of print for a real long time. But it's finally coming back. Spielworks recently fired off a tweet with the new box art, which I have to say looks pretty awesome. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It is it's an older game, originally published in 1986. So it's almost as old as I am.
It's about political parties.
Mm-hmm. So
like the political process in Germany.
Yeah.
Yes. So you like there's a bunch of ridiculous stuff in this game, and I've seen people play it, and it seems completely ridiculous. Zach, I think you would actually probably like aspects of it because there's a lot of negotiation, and alliance making and political type backstabbery, and like every so often there's big national elections where if you've done well and have like appealed to a lot of people, you can get elected. Otherwise, if you're like on the lower end of things, the lower ends kind of have to just they don't even get a choice. They get formed into like pseudo alliances where they're banding together. A whole bunch of different stuff like that.
My question is that are they going to introduce a far right faction that no matter what they do, they just keep gaining momentum and can do whatever the fuck they want and still somehow...
I don't know. Depends on how real Uli wants to get with the tweaks. Because they are making some tweaks to the game.
As each edition has over the years.
Yeah.
The original edition was East and West Germany because it was in 86. So that's...
not really relevant now.
No, they changed that in the late 90s version.
Yeah, and so when that one came out, it upped the player count too because it was like, oh, now there's a lot more political parties because we united our two halves of Germany. Yeah.
But it takes like 3+ hours, right?
Yeah. It's
240 minutes on the...
okay, so
page.
4 hours. Got it.
Yeah. And I think most games tend to go about that long. It is definitely a longer game. But yeah, basically trying to manipulate the media and the people to get points as a political party. So, politics.
I was going to say that doesn't sound like a political scheme at all.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I really like the new box art. I've been liking a lot of the stuff that Spielworks has been doing lately. So I will be keeping an eye out. Everybody I know who's played it has really liked it. I'm not sure how I'm kind of somewhere on the fence with negotiation games. Some of them I do really like. Some of them I really don't like. So I want to try it. I want to see. But yeah, Die Macher coming back out soon. No timeline that I see anywhere.
It was just sort of the announcement of coming soon with more to announce later.
Yeah.
I think they're in the middle of fulfilling something right now that's about to end. So I wouldn't be shocked if this actually comes to Kickstarter.
I mean, they've been doing a lot of stuff. I don't know. Spielworks they sent...
Didn't they do Gentes?
Originally.
Okay.
So Spielworks kind of shtick that they did for a long time is they would do kind of obscure, weird games for their first run and then bounce them off to other publishers.
And TMG did the Kickstarter for Gentes.
Which is why it was Deluxeified.
Yes.
And a lot of people who loved Gentes back when it was a Spielworks game were like, robble, we don't need components and art. But
it's great when it does.
The components and art for Gentes are amazing on the new Deluxeified version.
Yeah.
So.
What would a TMG 18XX look like?
I don't know.
It
might be too much.
I would love to see that just to watch everybody just lose their collective shit.
But my gatekeeping.
There's a lot of 18XX players like myself that would love to maybe see a more visually appealing version of 18XX to try and draw new players.
Visual appealing entry level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
as long as it doesn't I don't want too much art. Like I've seen some of the art style 18xx's that have come out over the years.
Do they look like bus?
And they're no.
I think they're bad because it's their first time ever trying art, and they're like, what does art look like?
It's like what's his face in Parks and Rec when they have the art project. He's like, these shapes, they're making me feel things.
Yeah.
These tracks make me feel things. Mostly anger.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll see, because 18 Chesapeake just unlocked an alternate art side of the board.
It's like,
so
instead of slightly green, it'll be slightly blue.
All right.
Slightly brown.
Okay. I could be down for that.
Anyway, moving on from the Die Macher new edition to the next and last bit of news.
Last up in news, Gencon has announced pop-up convention things at U.S. game stores.
Yeah, so I think this could be summed up as Gencon found a way to make more money without selling more tickets.
Yeah. Now they're just going to sell tickets to not the convention.
Yeah, so in your hometown. So you'd be like, I went to Gencon at Wizard's Chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it gives you a chance to play and pre-order convention release games. So basically they're partnering with a bunch of publishers so that games that come out at Gen Con, instead of just coming out at Gen Con,
like Forbidden Skies and
will kind
of
simultaneously come out at these pop-up events around the country at special game stores, which
40 stores right now.
Yeah. So, I can see why, from both they get to make more money by selling badges to these pop-up events. And then also it is kind of nice for gamers to have, getting to indie, depending on where you live, can be a expensive endeavor, and Gen Con tickets are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So having people a chance to get some of those new hotness games right out the gate can be nice for the gamers.
Yeah.
I can see this will definitely feed the hype machine even more.
Yeah. And it's partnership through...
And we definitely need more fire to soak.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's partnered through Alliance, so pretty much most of the board gaming distribution goes through them in America. So I suspect it'll have Fantasy Flight and... who cares what else? Because everyone's in that line for Fantasy Flight.
Yeah. But yeah, so stay tuned for more information about those pop-up events as more information kind of comes available.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to your FLG and see if they're aware of any near you or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have a list of the stores fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for news.
Yeah, Gen Con's right around the corner, coming up in August.
Yeah. News is complete.
News is all done, so we can go on to some Kickstarters.
First up in Kickstarter, we have the Island of El Dorado Revenge expansion. Very well funded, $201,000 of its $50,000 goal, 2,900 backers, and still a little less than 3 weeks left to go. You can get the expansion for $55, but if you missed the Island of El Dorado, you can get the whole shebang for $125.
Yeah, including
not a $100 minis game of the week, I guess.
No.
Meeple's game of the week?
Yeah, sure. So this is the third and final expansion, I think. Second expansion, final. It's supposedly the final expansion. I can't remember. I just don't remember exactly how many there were. I lost it. Third and final chapter.
Aha.
Which I still don't know if the initial release was the first chapter, and then it was an expansion for the second chapter, and then this is the second. I'm still not sure.
Well, they've all done very well.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a tile exploration game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
this is the second expansion.
Okay.
So I was correct. The game was the first chapter.
Yes.
Second expansion was the first expansion was the second chapter.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk about the expansion first a little bit. What this specific expansion adds, in case you already have the first expansion and the base game. The Revenge of El Dorado. You can now play as the Guardians of El Dorado, a new asymmetric faction that can summon beasts, giants, and disasters, trying to chase off the explorers. Expanded player boards that let you upgrade buildings and units and give you new abilities. And it now includes a fully cooperative play mode where you can try and play all together to withstand the island's onslaught. And it adds a bunch of new alternate objectives for regular games that you play. It's going to include a whole bunch of stuff. 80 new cards, 107 new wooden pieces, 17 building upgrades, 9 alternate objective cards, and 7 dual layer player board expansion boards. So like your old player boards slot into the new expansion boards.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then they have new double layer tracks for things like home shipments and strengths and things like that. So, yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
And then there's the Legend Edition, which is the $125 one that comes with a box to hold all of the stuff from all the expansions. And that's pretty good deal.
Yeah, and it upgrades a whole bunch of things. Includes removable trays, including like special trays for the Revenge expansion. Like when the island cards like come out, they've got a special tray that like holds it upright and shows what it does and things like that. Whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
All of that being said, I've played the Island of El Dorado, the base game, and it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I did not like it at all.
I wasn't that big a fan of it either. It just, I don't know. I don't remember what I didn't like about it other than it just felt like we were just walking around doing stuff, but nothing of importance.
Yeah, it felt really, and like so much of the exploration is just randomly drawing tiles off the top. And so like one person like Paul could make a beeline runway just doing tiles until he got the tiles that he wanted. And I don't know, like the fighting seemed a little bit unintuitive and there was a lot I did not like. That was only the base game. I don't know if either of the expansions helps with that at all, but I was not impressed, and I don't think Paul was impressed either.
I mean, he liked it the most out of us three. I know that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most highly rated on BGG, like sitting in the 2400s, almost 2500 overall ranking.
So the base game, like he had the Kickstarter copy of the base game, fantastic art and components, but I found the gameplay to be quite lackluster. So, who knows with this this version? This bumps it up with expansions from I think 1 to 4 players in the base game, or 2 to 4 players in the base game. It's now 1 to 8 players with all expansions, and is 20 minutes a player. So, I mean, if you wanted to play like a 2.5 to 3 hour game, you could play an 8 person game. Seems excessive. But yeah,
that's the
Island of El Dorado Revenge.
Next up in Kickstarter, we have MHPEECW, also known as Manhattan Project Energy Empire expansion, Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
This one is well-funded, $33K of its $8.2 thousand goal. 968 backers, 3 weeks left, and you can get this expansion for $25.
So the Cold War expansion adds on to Manhattan Project Energy Empire, expanding it to include basically it's made up of a bunch of different modules. So you're going to be able to kind of add them as you see fit. It also adds a solo player version with an automation deck. So you can try to just play against the automa.
I like that the module components it has, like 3 of them are just new cards, like new nation cards and new structures and new global impact cards, which those are all in there. These are just additional of those. And he's like, these are modular. It's like, I mean, you're not wrong, but people are just going to take that and throw it in there. So really it's the
3 modules.
Yeah, it's the mega structures, espionage, and the Doomsday Clock and Cold War cards.
Yeah. Because there was no real war in Energy Empire. It was all just building resources and a little bit of fuck you, here's some pollution on your board kind of thing.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot. Certainly not compared to like the first Manhattan Project where you could like literally go bomb other people with bombers and things. Not a lot of information anywhere in this Kickstarter about how any of those modules actually play out. They've got a rules thing and some how to play video for Man vs. Meeple.
Well, and I think so. Espionage was in Manhattan Project 1 and 2, and I know that turned off. I know Paul really didn't like it in the first one, but it seems like this one,
it was weirdly implemented in the first one.
Yeah, this one at least it's all because in Energy Empire, when you activate a spot on a main building, you activate all of the same colored buildings in your own board. So espionage is going to be the same, except that you can activate somebody else's building that's the same color as what you're doing. So it at least focuses it on certain things. It can't just be like, oh, you have this one card that is great. Everyone's always going to use that whenever they get a chance.
Seems like the mega structures are laid at the top of the board, players +1, and they have requirements of having like 2 of the government, 2 of the industry, 2 of the commerce, or some variation in that, or having moved on the UN track. And they have lots of really cool and powerful abilities. But I think the major point in this expansion is there's a solo mode.
Yeah.
Because that's like 50 plus cards of this expansion is that solo deck.
Yeah, which as someone who doesn't care about solo stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
Kind of want not that.
Yeah, but at least with $25, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But it's still not not nearly as many as I'd want with, I don't know. It's a little expensive because I don't care about the solo thing, but I do like that there's just more to this game. It can add more to the game.
Yeah.
And you can also use this, obviously, to add on the first game, or not the first game, but the base game of this, or Minutes to Midnight, the sequel to original Manhattan Project.
And then there's the Doomsday Clock, which has the Cold War cards. It's a new worker placement spot that you can turn the clock. You advance the clock, you draw Cold War cards, and then activate cards in your tableau. And then you strike midnight, and when you hit midnight, the game's over.
Nice.
Yeah. I did not really like Energy Empire. It's easily my least favorite of the 3 main Manhattan projects I've played, so this doesn't super interest me.
But it's 4 out of the 5 tangential ones that you've played.
Yes. No, I've only played 4.
Chain Reaction.
Yeah, but so I've only played 4. So
that is 4.
It's still 3 out of 4. It's 3 out of the base 3 and 3 out of 4 of.
I was thinking of Manhattan Project with its first expansion. It was added a bunch of stuff, and so yeah.
Yeah, no, Manhattan Project 2, Minutes to Midnight, Energy Empire, and then Chain Reaction, which Chain Reaction is...
I still have it for whatever reason.
I'm real surprised you haven't tried to pass that off to somebody in the raffle yet.
I might do that next one. So
yeah.
Manhattan Project, Energy Empire, Cold War, adding that war back into Manhattan Project, Energy Empire.
I really don't like the way that Cold War is written on the expansion box.
It seems like it's like from outer space and Alien.
Yeah,
to me.
And it seems way out of place. Meh.
But $25.
Yeah, there is that.
Next up in Kickstarter is Space Race. Pretty well funded, 62,000 of its $28,000 goal, 986 backers, over 1,000 backers as soon as this actually continues to load. 2 weeks to be able to pledge this one, which the most popular is the Deluxe Edition at $66. It looks cool.
In another game also kind of taking place right around the time of the Cold War, in Space Race, you are going to be engine building your way to victory along with some other players, 1 to 4 players in the base game, up to 5 with the Deluxe bundle. But you become the director of a space agency, and you are trying to be the first nation to get to space. So you're going to be hiring astronauts, scientists, developing technologies, and basically building up your whole space program, trying to get breakthroughs and things like that. So the game takes place over 7 rounds, where you're going to be doing engine building things. So working different tech cards, different like employee types, and all of that type of thing. So kind of like trying to explain Terraforming Mars real briefly. Like you got all these different things you do. It's an engine building game. All these different cards that all kind of work together and chain off of each other as you're trying to complete projects and things to get to space. They got some different videos and things. I don't see a rule book yet. I might have missed it on my first pass through, but a bunch of different videos if you want to see how it's played. The base game comes with a whole big deck of cards, almost 100 cards, the board, and whole shit ton of astronaut meeples, Jesus. And a bunch of different cards and things for projects and all of that stuff. If you go Deluxe, it adds some sweet rocket minis based on actual real rockets like the Soyuz and the Saturns, things like that.
Soyuz?
I don't know how it's actually pronounced.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that goes into the space station. Are you sure it's not the N1?
No, it's the Soyuz. It's right there.
right.
The first rocket that scored a real breakthrough in 1957, fully operational up to this day.
I was looking at the Cold War one, which is the N1 rocket.
Oh.
And I think the N7 was the largest non-nuclear man-made explosion of all time because they threw on like 72 rockets and then it fell over and exploded.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Oh, yeah. So the Cold War expansion, you get the 2
Saturn V.
huge rockets. They're
Yeah.
even bigger. No, the base rockets are, the Soyuz, the Saturn, the Ariane, which is the European heavy lift vehicle, the Falcon Heavy, which is SpaceX's vehicle, and then the Long March 2F, which is a Chinese orbital carrier rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of throughout the whole history of space because they have like the Falcon Heavy and stuff in here.
Yeah. Definitely all the way up to modern times.
Yeah.
So the art style's kind of cool. The game board is like a blueprint kind of thing, so it's very blue.
Very blue.
If you thought Lisboa was blue.
Yeah.
But I kind of dig that art style, like the blueprint looking.
And all the
style.
cards are kind of retro-y style, but still modern because they have like the various Mars rovers and stuff in there too.
Indeed.
It's a good looking game.
Yeah.
No rule book.
No.
Okay, so I didn't miss it.
Nope.
And I mean, I do think the blue works in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas I still feel like Lisboa, they just ran out of a color while they were printing.
I think just because people are used to seeing blueprints, so it's like a known thing,
Yes.
whereas not everybody's used to the blue mosaic tiles of Lisbon. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't like that they have the blueprint, like the background they have for what you get is also blue. I'm like,
Makes some of it hard to see.
I'm like, that's just a bit too much. Even as someone who likes the blue color, it's not. Yeah.
And that's Space Race.
Indeed.
Last up on Kickstarter is Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. Very well funded, $128,000 of its $45,000 goal, 1,400 backers, and just over 2 weeks to pledge, which its most popular pledge level is $119. So this is sort of your $100 also
Game of the week.
game minis.
There's some
Sort of.
minis in it.
There's a bunch of minis in this.
I mean, yes, but that's due to the that's sort of what is that game? Oh god, the gods and the squares, and you're trying to go up.
Oh yeah,
What's it called?
I don't know. Ant has it though.
I have it too.
Oh.
Santorini.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There's a lot of just like
Santorini board.
Santorini
Style.
board set up. Like there's a lot of stuff there. It's like it's there for like to make it look cool, but
not necessary.
maybe not necessary.
Anyway, to tell you a little bit about the game, it is a 2 to 4 player game that takes about 60 minutes, and it was originally released in 2006 by Days of Wonder, and it is now back in a fully remastered, redonkulous edition. And yeah, they've got just a ton of stuff in this one. So the retail edition, which is a pretty big box, already comes with
Which is like $70.
yes, $69 for the retail set.
Yeah.
It comes with a whole big like build your own palace thing.
Yeah.
Like you see right away when you load this Kickstarter up, like the first picture they have is the game all set up, and so you see that you build like this huge temple with walls and pillars and all of that, and there's a player board on top of the temple, and then there's one out in front of it with all the different statues and obelisks and things like that, and then there's like another row board in front of that has a bunch of cards on it. Like it's just a ton of stuff, and they went
All out.
all out. Yeah, comes with a whole bunch of stuff like that. Different player pieces that are Hanabi figures, basically minis, as well as a bunch of cards and cardboard bits to go along with it. Includes a bunch of stretch goals that have all been unlocked. The first stretch goal was 40% greater than 40% volume bigger, so they just made it bigger. So the main temple went from being a 10-inch by 10-inch square to an 11.3 inch square. Like just it's a foot by a foot, and that's just one of the boards. So this game's gonna take up like 3 feet by 1 foot for just the main play area, plus player stuff onto the sides. It's gonna be a table hog.
Yeah.
Bunch of other things, linen finishes, all that kind of stuff, all included. The premium edition, though, is where we really get to start talking about the sweet stuff. The premium edition is a fucking cube. Like I don't know if the dimensions are exactly a cube, but it's basically a fucking cube. It's a
Gotta
big,
store all
huge-
these minis somewhere.
Yeah. Big, huge premium box with a sleeve. All of the components are upgraded. Most of them are upgraded in some way, shape, or form. For instance, you now get 90 metal amulets of corruption instead of cardboard tokens. The upper player board for the palace is no longer cardboard. It's now plastic with holes where you can put magnets.
Yeah, magnets are an add-on. So.
Yeah, which I think is included in that 119 that everybody's pledging for.
Yeah.
It includes a bunch of plastic-colored pyramids where you can hide your amulets of corruption so people don't know how many negative points you have, because they're going to be negative points of the game. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then the scarab tokens become 3D treasure scarabs with Egyptian numbers underneath, which 1, 2, 5, 10, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how to read Egyptian numerology. The 10 I'm really guessing on. The 1, 2, and 5 is just how many like tick marks there are, and I'm assuming that, hey, that's an easy way to count to 5. And then there's an N that is a number, apparently. And I'm just going to go with 10, because that seems the next logical progression from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10. They're also going to increase all of the mosaic tiles from being cardboard pieces to 5mm thick resin tiles. So they'll be like actual mosaic tiles, bunch of felt bags, all of that kind of stuff. There's also expansions that are coming with it and include a bunch of other things. It's a little ridiculous.
The scarabs are, you were correct, 1, 2, 5, 10.
Cool.
They are generally used as victory points.
So the way this game is played is essentially you're going to be collecting resource cards from the market. And when you take cards from the market, you take all of the cards in a given column, and then you refresh the market with some new cards. So timing when to take it and get the most cards at a time will be really important. Then you can go to the quarry where you can get different pieces of the palace that you can build. And so to do that, you need to discard a combination of resource cards to match or exceed the construction requirements of whatever you're building, which will then earn you the corresponding treasure scarabs, which are your winning scores. You can additionally occasionally claim worshippers of Sobek, which are corrupted people that will give you bonuses when you use them, but then you take corruption tokens that are negative points at the end of the game.
The evil crocodile god.
Yeah. All the different pieces you're building are divided into different types of categories, so like obelisks or sphinxes, things like that. Anytime an entire category is completed, Cleopatra moves forward towards the palace door. When it moves from the third to the fourth space of the walk, everybody has to make offerings to the great priest. So you secretly bid with scarabs, and whoever donates the most gets to get rid of 3 amulets of corruption. Everyone else instead receives somewhere between 1 and 4 amulets of corruption. So it's at least a 4-point swing, with somebody gaining 1 more negative and whoever won losing 3 negative. So, but I guess I can't tell from this little brief overview if you're also whatever you bid, you lose. So maybe there's some distinction there of whether it's worth it to bid ever more than what you might get rid of. I don't know. Yeah, whole bunch of stuff here. Like I said, add-ons for magnets and sleeves as well. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I feel like the deluxe edition would take up an entire Kallax space just by itself.
I've seen some video game collector's editions that easily can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fallout, where you get a fucking T5 power helmet or whatever.
Yeah, that was Fallout 76. It was bad.
I thought Fallout 4 had a
Maybe it was
collector's
4.
edition with a power helmet as well.
I don't remember. But shipping on this is also not terrible. $12.
That's not bad.
Yeah. At most, $30 to the rest of the world. Could be worse.
Could be much worse for such a big box.
Yeah.
Although it seems like a decent amount of the volume of that box is going to be like the empty pyramids that don't really have anything in them and are plastic, which is light enough when it's hollow. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Cruising through unlocks, too, for expansion or stretch goals. They're coming up on a variant for Sobek expansion where he'll have different powers when you build his statue. And then some other things that they haven't revealed yet. So, yeah. Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. Your final Kickstarter of this week.
A lot of expensive Kickstarters this week.
Yes. Sorry, V. No cheapies.
Nope. Unless you want that Energy Empire expansion.
Yeah. Cool. That wraps up all of the news and Kickstarter portion, which brings us to Jeff's favorite portion, listener feedback. Which this week, Jeff, there are actually emails for you.
Yeah, he looks a little bit revitalized.
Yes, absolutely.
His bones have started to heal.
Yeah.
Started, finally.
They're knitting back together.
Solely based on the amount of emails he gets.
Absolutely. Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email, like this Patrick person did, titled Thanks. I'm writing this because Adrian said you were sad not to have any emails, Jeff. I don't know if you are sad about that because you never said so. So are you sad if you don't get any emails? You could tell that I was sad because I said emails like emails at milehighgameguys.com last week and not my usual emails at milehighgameguys.com.
There wasn't any emphasis. It was just sort of spilled out of his mouth.
It's blah.
It's like molasses just poured out of the mouth.
Yes, the great molasses flood. I'm probably going to hate you reading this out loud as much as when you read my post to the cooperative episode. That would have been Zach that read that. Things always sound better in my head. I got my BGG badge today, and I'm displaying it proudly. Have we mentioned that we have a BGG badge?
Yes, last week we did, yeah.
I just want to say I really enjoy the show. Your banter's dynamics are always a treat to my ear holes. I probably will never play Kingdom Death Monster or Blood Bowl, and I'm not exactly sure I am really catching the exact rules for them, but I always enjoy the retelling of the events of your playthroughs.
Yeah, we try not to do too much of the rules for those because it's just about our experience going through the campaign.
Yeah. Do you want to hear about how I got the guys on the right corners to be able to get the plus strength to hit the dude, and then I just pushed him instead of knocking him down over and over?
Mm-hmm.
But
or how we were standing. It's like, all right, well, we need to stand 4 spaces away. But we want you to attack first because you have the ability that lets you cancel a trap. So we want to see if that happens. And then it's like, oh, it's
not going to roll the 7+ to cancel the trap anyways. Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah.
I won't play a lot of games you guys play or review, but again, I enjoy listening to how things went for you in the games and your analysis of the games. I also appreciate how much you include your fan base,
quote
unquote fan base, into the podcast. The audio and editing is really good, and the bloopers at the end are fun. Hopefully people realize we have those.
I think most people do.
And we don't always have
given
them.
the amount of people who have sat and listened through 40 minutes of silence at the end of an episode.
Yeah. And we don't always have them, but yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to make this happen. I hope you continue to enjoy doing it. Patrick, a.k.a. Court Jester, I guess with a G, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On BGG.
On the BGG.
He made a bad assumption that he thinks we enjoy doing it right now.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, that we've ever enjoyed doing. No. It's just been a labor of hate from the beginning.
Spite recording.
Yeah.
Next email, the People's Gaming Podcast. Greetings, MHGG. When I last wrote you the most email a while back, I said I really enjoyed your show, but I haven't listened to many podcasts.
No.
Since then, I have listened to a lot more, and you are still my favorite. I have realized why you are my favorite, though. Not only are you the most podcast, you are the People's Gaming Podcast. Most podcasts follow a strict structure and time frame. It often makes them feel rushed and rehearsed, whereas you three take as long as you needed to fully discuss what you want to say.
It almost feels like a backhanded compliment.
That's the best kind.
Yeah.
They feel rehearsed.
Yeah.
Your tangents make you feel more relaxed than a lot of other podcasts and makes it feel more like a conversation with friends rather than an ultra-serious discussion. Also, where other gaming podcasts focus on guests who are big names in the industry, your guests are fellow gamers. This may be more access and availability over design, but it gives the impression of the gamers being what is important to gaming, making your podcast seem more accessible to the masses.
No, that's 100% on purpose.
Absolutely. We don't need big names. We just want friends.
It also just takes work.
Yeah.
We're lazy.
Yes.
It's much easier to be like, hey, Wes, you live 5 minutes north of me. Why don't you drive down here and jump on the show? Than it is like actually schedule and coordinate times. So like that's why we've done that like twice.
Or ask anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
A gaming podcast for the gamers rather than the industry feel, by the people, for the people. Also, Adrian, an idea for another show. Mile High Heavy Hitters, a show about the heavier games. You could have Bullshit Paul and some other heavy gamers and trained gamers discuss the heavier games you cannot get on here. That would mean he would have to actually play games during the week.
Yeah.
And then record a third podcast / fourth episode.
Yeah. I would love to do something like that. Like, there's been a couple other ideas that I've kind of been tossing around for other shows. It's just a matter of I do not have time for another show right now.
Yeah.
Megan is already
I'm sure you're already a little bit past the line already. So
yeah, I have to put in extra work and effort to let her know, show that she's still an appreciated and important part of my life. And yeah, I would love to do that. I wouldn't even feel like, depending on how the format of a heavy games show went, I wouldn't need to play more. It doesn't necessarily need to be a review show. It can be more of a discussion about heavy game show, which might not need as many plays. I don't know. There's a lot of fun things I think I could do with it.
I fell asleep halfway through your explanation of what you wanted to do.
It wouldn't be a show for you, Jeff, unless you were having trouble sleeping and you just wanted to get to bed.
Now we're interested.
Now we're ASMR.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be half heavy games, half ASMR.
Yeah,
I don't want to try and sleep by Adrian whispering into my ear.
Just with Paul and Adrian whispering back to each other.
Yeah. Me and Paul talk heavy games.
Yeah.
With just smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz.
Public domain smooth jazz, no
Yes.
less. That's it for emails at milehighgameguys.com. If you would like to send us an email, our email address is emails@milehighgameguys.com.
Listen to how peppy he sounds.
Yes.
He's been rejuvenated.
Yeah.
It only took 2 emails.
Yep. 2 solid emails.
They were at least good emails. They weren't some bullshit like, hey, Jeff, this is an email. Bye.
Bye.
But that's fine.
That's also fine.
I mean, we would still read the shit out of that
Yeah.
email. We're not above that.
We're not above
much.
anything.
Yeah.
We also had some feedback over on BGG. Got those ready, Zach?
Yeah, so the first one is for our top 10 cooperative games, and it's criticism. Oh, no.
We can't handle that.
One thing that really stood out to me was how poorly the episode flowed because you waited to discuss a game until the person who rated it highest was ready to. It created pauses in the conversation and unnecessary checking in to see if it was okay to talk about a game. Instead, I recommend talking about a game when it's first brought up and have everyone who's had it on their list talk about it at the moment, but then keep the placement hidden. Game Informer's podcast does this. It keeps a lot of the conversation flowing nicely, and I think it's easier to follow. Just one person's opinion. Wrong. It's at least 2 persons' opinion.
Yes.
It's more than 2 people.
Yes.
We initially heard about it from some of our immediate friend group.
Yes.
And I think maybe on the Slack channel. I can't remember if it came up on Slack.
Ant
brought it up
on the Slack.
Yeah. Which it's weird to me that it came up so big with this episode because we've done that for almost, I think, every top 10 except maybe the first.
I think one reason is that we didn't have a lot of crossover, so it wasn't as apparent as this one, where a lot of the cooperative games that we've played together.
Yeah. I also, in editing, I had almost cut it out, but then I decided to leave in the discussion about hey, do we want to do this? So I think it drew more attention to the fact we're doing it this way.
But
I'm did in the past.
Yeah, but I'm definitely okay, at the very least, trying at once of doing it that other way. So
I'm fine with that. Part of my idea for the other way is I like the idea of talking about a game at its highest placement, where it's the highest on a list, rather than talk about my number 1 game at number 10. Then it feels like it takes away from this is the game I'm the most excited about. Now I'm talking about it at the bottom of my list. So I don't know.
You can. So I know Dice Tower, at least back when I listened to it, they would do it that way, but obviously they would know what the lists were. So it could be I want to talk about, I have for my number 9, I'm not going to talk about it right now because it's higher on somebody else's list or something like that. But
yeah, which that was somebody else said we could share our list.
But we don't like doing that because
we want our list to be a surprise.
Yes,
we like to fuck with our co-hosts as much.
And
as
I'll 100% tell you during that list, my list changed during our recording of it.
It didn't for me on this list, but it definitely has on other lists.
Yes. So that leaves us the ability to be flexible,
fluid,
up until the moment where we need to actually say it. So, yeah. And I think we can always just chime in a bit on it, but then just if we have a point we want to get across on it, do it further up.
I think the other thing with that episode in particular, especially since you guys seem to do more of like, I know you especially, Zach, were like, this is my favorite co-op of like this kind of style.
To an extent, yeah.
It probably didn't make as much sense. Whereas it's just like, oh, this is my favorite co-op. You know, like, I don't know. It was interesting to hear different feedback about that. Like I said, especially because I feel like I'm pretty sure we've done that for every top 10 aside from maybe the first couple. Like we started that and it was one of those things where one of the first top 10s we did, that came up and we kind of paused and we're like, wait, what do we want to do about like this? And you were like, well, Dice Tower does it this way. And I was like, fuck it. We'll do it the Dice Tower way.
Like everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're successful. Why not copy them? But no, I'd be fine with trying it out and doing it the other way next top 10. We can take constructive criticism and maybe try it and adopt it.
But also, fuck you, Mark. No.
Yeah, how dare you criticize us? Don't you know we're the People's Podcast? We're here for you, and you dare criticize?
I'm just saying it's rude. That's all.
Next BGG comments.
Next one is on the Azul review, and this is also from Mark the Monster. I'll call him from now on.
Yes.
I've played it a lot at 2 players and at 4 players, and I have enjoyed it equally at all. I feel that the game offers the ability to play casually as much as it has the ability to play competitively. In my mind, it's an instant classic that could sit on family shelves next to Catan, Carcassonne, Seven Wonders, and Pandemic. It has an approachable theme, easy to learn, and plays quickly, hallmarks of a classic game. And I could totally agree with it being in the same level as those.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would arguably even put it above some of those. I think it is one that's going to really stick around for a long time.
I mean, I could see it being above just the fact that they're older. Like
see, as much as I love Catan was the one that stood out to me as the one I could think it could be above because Catan is a game that increasingly shows. Well,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Carcassonne I think still stands up pretty well. Seven Wonders, they've done a good job with the expansions of keeping that one fresh. Pandemic, obviously, like base Pandemic is maybe showing its age a bit, but they've done a great job with the
expansions
survival series
and re-implementations of it. Yeah.
So, I agree.
And but yeah, that's it for BGG responses.
Just a reminder, closing that out, we do have BGG badges available. There's a thread in the guild if you want a BGG badge that says MHGG with vague mountains in the background. If you look really, really close, you can.
It's like blue and gray blobs behind letters.
Yeah. That's courtesy of Boyd. He did something right for once. I can't criticize him.
33 owners now.
Oh shit.
Jeff, did you ever get one?
Yeah.
Cool. I still have not. But
you son of a bitch.
Never
gonna. If I can buy one and just send it to you, so you have to have it.
I will delete this account.
We have 190 members in the guild. I feel like we should have, at least 100 badges.
Who are you, Boyd, asking me to update my wish list in case anybody wanted to get me something? No.
I hope you have something on your wish list.
I have absolutely nothing.
Okay.
The only thing I had on my wish list was Star Wars Rebellion.
Yeah.
Oh, I played that. God damn it. That's what I should have talked about.
What?
When the fuck do you play Star Wars Rebellion?
I went and played it with Ant.
Oh my
God damn it. I'll talk about it next week. Or I could talk about it a little bit when you cut it in.
No, fuck you. Fuck you.
I don't want to talk about it and
no,
cut it in.
You gotta wait. Gotta wait.
No.
I remember Ant had said that he played that, but I didn't know who he played it with.
It was with me. I got housed.
Well,
good.
Yeah, that's
good. He beat me real good.
Was he Imperials or Rebels?
He was Imperials.
Yeah, you're fucked.
I think he has like a dozen long win streak on that game. So
he's played it the most and he's won it every time.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it next week. Continuing listener feedback. We have a comment over in Paulo's corner on YouTube. Spoilers. Parentheses maybe. And I read through it already, and I don't think there's spoilers here. But it's about Endgame. Oh man, Endgame was so amazing. A great conclusion to this crazy MCU megalomania. Even with high expectations, it managed to surpass it. Full of highs and lows in terms of emotions, I had to try really hard to not shed a tear, but it proved impossible for me to not let one slip near the end. Fantastic. Yeah, I was definitely like, one finger wiping, both eyes, like I'm trying to still see the screen. Oh no, emotions are happening.
Especially with my second screening of it, because I knew those parts were coming. that there were 2 parts in particular where I was like 10% away from ugly crying.
Yeah, more and more moments like that throughout Endgame. It's just like, noble sacrifices. Great movie. I can't wait to see it again Wednesday. That wraps up listener feedback.
Yep.
We're all done with it. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so in numerous ways. You can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Remember, they help Jeff's leg heal. You can also find us over on BGG, where we have a guild number 2731. You can jump over there, join the guild, and you can also look for the thread there in the guild to get your BGG badge if you want to have a Mile High Game Guys badge. I don't know why I care about people having them, but I do for some reason.
Do it before Adrian
Maybe that's
starts.
why I don't want to get one.
Probably. Zach wants to hurt me.
Yeah.
Do it before Adrian starts ugly crying.
Please. It's quite ugly.
We have Facebook and Instagram / Mile High Game Guys. And you can always get a hold of us on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
And our website, milehighgameguys.com, has episode links and posts that have full show notes, as well as links to things like our Slack channel, our Patreon, all of that stuff. Also has links to MHDD episodes. So if you want to hear me and Wes and Bob, I think are the 3 who've been on this show from MHDD, along with our other friends, Leander, Clue, and Allison, as we play through some awesome D&D shenanigans. That's over there too, and you can check that out. We just recorded episode 14 of that, so we're getting into the double digits.
How far along are you on your story?
It's hard to say. I don't, because, Wes, we know not a lot about what the overall story arc is for things. I feel like we're not that far, but I also don't know how rapidly things will progress once we reach different points. We're it's a little bit of a overthrow the oppressive government storyline, and so far we're kind of just all different people who are dissatisfied, who are like, oh shit, there's actually a rebellion. Maybe we can join that rebellion, and we haven't succeeded yet in joining the rebellion.
Okay.
So we've had other successes. We've also had other interesting, not quite failures, but there was a prison break where some of our people got arrested and everybody else broke in to free them. And then when we got in, they'd already been released. So we broke into a prison to free no one. So listen to the episode to find out, though, how they got released, why they got released, who was captured, all of that. It's only a minor spoiler for MHDD there. But Wes is doing a great job of DMing it. I'm really enjoying playing it. We play tomorrow. I'm excited for it. But yeah, that's all the ways to get a hold of us. That's all the things we got going on. So be sure to go support our awesome sponsors, Gray Fox Games. They sponsor all of our Wednesday episodes. You can still go pre-order Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down, their latest Kickstarter that we all 3 actually really liked the base game for, and I'm still leaning heavily towards maybe backing that now that I have job and money, because I really liked Tsukuyumi, and I'm pretty stoked about some of their... There's a part of me that still wants to be like all the shiny minis.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tsukuyumi would be a good game to have a bunch of cool minis with. So.
Yeah, it's not random bullshit.
Exactly.
It's
exactly. It's actual tactical, strategic, and I don't think I lost a game of Tsukuyumi.
Tactical ants.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can go pre-order that if you missed out on the Kickstarter. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement?
Yes, and I won't forget Gray Fox Games, quality games cleverly crafted this week.
Good.
Also, I raised you and loved you. I've given you weapons, taught you techniques, endowed you with knowledge. There's nothing more for me to give you. All that's left for you to take is my life.
So you want us to murder you?
That's kind of what happens at the end of the game.
Okay. Be sure to tune in on Friday when we review The Expanse board game. Not just the show, the board game.
I mean, we'll probably talk about the show too.
You'll
talk about
the show.
But yeah, check that out, and we'll be back the following Wednesday with yet another awesome banter episode. So until then, thanks for listening. I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And let's get physical, Jeff.
Bye.
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 Be sure to catch us this Friday when we review. God damn it, Zach.
What'd I do?
You filled in my coaster.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it. It just distracted me. It broke my train of thought.
I mean, what else am I supposed to do with it? Not fill it in?
I mean,
You had a highlighter next, or a marker next to me, a dry erase marker next to me, and something that I could
Color.
That's.
We just need to get you a coloring book for each episode.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.